say that, him and I sitting there talking, I looked him in the eye and I said, Mitch, it's time to talk. There's no time to sit back and not talk about this anymore. And thank you, Mitch, for coming here and talking for the first time really publicly about this stuff. It's really important, dude. It's really important.
But I don't actually, I could care less what people think about what we're talking about. I really, if they're into it or if they're not. It's just like, hello, if you are, you need to do your own research. And this shit, like, presents itself every day, man. So it's just like, if you can find something in it to make you think, like, maybe you should start preparing for something, then do it, man. Because I am a little bit, but it's like, how can you live your life? Man, the stuff I read, I'm like, it's got to be, you wake up some days, the sun is shining and stuff, you're like, it's just a normal day. In fact, it's not a normal day. I'm in England and the sun is shining. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? I can't, it's got to be bullshit. It has to be. There's just no way. And then you can actually get through the day that way. And then you get a little time at home on the computer later and you're like, oh dear, here we go. Oh, look at this. I know someone who's going to appreciate this. But I never push it on anybody because it's just like, if you care about what's going on, then take it in. And just absorb it, man. And don't expect to convince or sway anybody. Maybe a few people. And
right.
And, it's like survival. That's it. I don't care. I'm not even, like, trying to, like, establish a movement to stop this. Because, in my opinion, forget it, man. It's over. This is not going to happen, man. Unless, like I said, the guy who wrote that article can point the fingers with his evidence and get those people, that guy will get whacked. He'll be dead.
Yeah.
Long before it gets to that point. In fact, he may already be. Who knows?
Well, I mean, if any of that's true, because when it comes to all the theories I've heard about what happened in Japan, I've got like a half a dozen that are like, okay, that's a possibility. That's a possibility,
Toyota has a big part in it, and the fact that, like, nobody buys American cars anymore as well. That's like a big part of the whole thing, actually. In the economy, there's like, if you can say, why would they do that? But why would they do that?
Yeah, right. That's what we do. Yeah, that's my point. That's my point. You look at these kinds of things, and that's what you have to look at. And, speaking for myself, I get a lot of criticism because I do openly put it out there. You see me on Facebook, Mitch. I put it out there.
I can't even read the comments anymore that you get. Because I'm like, that's why I don't post that shit. Because I
don't care. I don't.
Man. You don't care either.
Just so you know, nothing. I'm impenetrable when it comes to what people think about this kind of stuff. Because I know it to be the biggest hurdle we face is just people's closing of their minds and surrendering to the matrix that is created for them. This whole system is really a matrix. Even if you don't want to believe it on a spiritual level or anything like that, it really is created as an illusion.
Did you take the red pill? Which pill did you take?
I threw the pill away. I threw the fucking pill away.
Probably a good idea.
That's one of the things I got to say about John that I really like. There's different levels to this. You got to get your mind opened, and John's like the pinky with the lube. You know what I mean?
I think he has a good idea actually on how to actually get someone's attention because. To me, it's the odd person that I might find that seems to be open or interested, but really,
and
carry on.
And John's doing an excellent job with facts, hardcore, cold facts that he can show where the government is screwing us, they're raping us, they're taking our rights, our lands, they're pulling all kinds of bullshit. John is on that track, and that opens the door for the next level, which is where me and Craig are pretty much at, and a lot of our listeners are. So if it wasn't for John spreading the word and opening minds, it would just be me, Craig, and Mitch here tonight. So thank you, John.
Oh, no sweat, man. I mean, I like I said, I'm very open to these things, and I don't discount them at all. It's my most effective, like I was getting ready to say, when I first woke up and was talking to people, they looked at me like I was nuts. Now, I don't really give a fuck either, but I do care enough to start a movement to try to make people wake up. And what I found, the best way to do that without people looking at you like that you've just grown a third eye, is to talk about the money. Yeah, because that's the way. If you really expose that part of it, it seems to be the easiest way to nudge people into this. And I mean, I realize that we're running out of time to some degree, but we can only do what we can do. And I'm being driven by something else. I mean, when I woke up, it was the most intense thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was like it was an epiphany. It had a crushing effect. I literally felt like I had about 1,000 pounds on my chest, and deep down in my soul, like, I knew that this was true and that I was on track to figuring out why everything's so fucked up and why I had been feeling like, shitty my whole life, just not knowing that something was wrong, not able to pinpoint it. And it opened this awakening opened the doors. I'm a much happier person now that I know this is going on. I mean, that sounds, people look at me like, dude, you're crazy. How it's so fucking evil and it's so scary. And I'm like, nah, man, this is life, dude. This is what it's about. This is living. This is the ultimate battle of good and evil, liberty and tyranny. It's been going on
since the beginning.
Man's walked the earth. So this is what animates me. I mean, this is what I was born to do. Frankly, I know it.
I feel the same way, John. And I think that you bring up a really great point that I think that everybody that's listening to this show should take, because I know that I get this a shitload, and I'm sure whoever Mitch talks to from time to time probably gives it to him. They wonder how you could be happy knowing what you know or thinking you know what you know. And quite frankly, I'm happy knowing that I don't buy into the fucking bullshit, and I'm trying to live my life to the best that I possibly can with my family, for my family. Trying to do everything I can to awaken other people around. All we can do is what we can do, but I don't get obsessed with the negative. And as
you can't, because
it'll kill you. It'll absolutely kill you. So you got to just I exercise it, get it out of me by discussing it and throwing it out there and letting people wrestle with it a little bit. So I guess I'm kind of fucked up in that way, but I don't feel that excessive weight crushing me anymore either, because at least I think all of us here are doing what we're supposed to do. We're playing our part in this thing. And everybody out there that's listening, take a note from each of us. Take a note from each of us.
William Cooper wrote the book, Behold a Pale Horse. I read this in 92, and I ain't been the same since.
Me either.
Everything he said is coming to light. And, man, he was the first one to say that America did this to the 9/11 thing, and I was afraid to even access his website from my house because, of course, I was paranoid about all that stuff. And one day we just couldn't resist anymore. About 3 weeks after the incident, we looked, and there it was, and we saw that he had 17 million hits. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of people saying that, who was obviously responsible for the whole thing and why, and and then I never went there again, dude, because I was so scared. And then all of a sudden, 5 or 6 years later, dude, I had the balls to go back and found out he was killed, murdered, stabbed outside his house. 3 weeks.
Shot down by the sheriffs.
Yeah, he was shot by the cops, right?
Yeah, he was shot by the cops, dude. He was in a hail of bullets. I already mentioned it when you guys weren't looking. It was already a topic we talked about over here on the side chat. Yeah, he went down in a hail of bullets, and you can say anything you want. Maybe he was one of those, guys who just said, I have a gun. It's my freedom to have a gun, and just got shot. Maybe they just fucking flat out shot him. But he was definitely someone that scared people. My introduction to everything that I do came from walking into a room and hearing Bill Cooper on fast dub as somebody was making a cassette tape and hearing it 5 times faster than it was actually being said and going, what the fuck are you listening to? And that Bill Cooper was the first thing I heard. So that was how my brain got thinking outside of the box in the first place. And this was in '89,
Yeah, I got a few other stories of how I got into it. But still, back to what we were saying. Carry on, man.
Sorry, brother.
Hey, you guys need to do. You guys, all three of you guys, and all your listeners need to get a book called "The Creature from Jekyll Island." That's a really good one too. That will expose It's the real history of the Federal Reserve, man. It's a really good book.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down here for everyone if they didn't catch that.
The Creature from Jekyll Island. So the first song on the Sons of Liberty album is called Jekyll Island. And it's based on that book. And it's the history of the Fed. You know.
You know, I actually just posted on Facebook tonight the video for Jekyll Island. So, go ahead, Mitch.
Was that right?
What I was saying was about educating people. I mean, for me, all my research at the end of the day is basically, for me, it's about myth and legend. And at some point, it's all happening. I gave up on the population after a while. And when they voted Bush in and he won again, or even after all the lies about the votes and all that problems in Florida, I was like, these people voted for him. And I'm like, I almost stopped caring. And my parents, everyone supports it, and the flags and all this stuff. And incidents like 9/11 bring the country together, man, because it's something that day changed everyone's life. Everyone can say, like, we remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. And it's like, okay, this is all myth and legend. And one day someone's going to take everything that we ever knew or had as freedom, and I'll know why. And I'll at least know how it happened. And I'll be the guy that said, I told you so. But in fact, I won't even bother to say it, because it'll be like, you guys just let the shit happen, man. And it's like, I'm sorry, you voted for people. What do you want me to say? It was a dynasty, a tyrannical dynasty, the whole Bush administration. Like, I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but George Bush Sr. was the head of the CIA for 17 years before he stepped down to become president, because you have less power as a president, you know, but you do have the power to implement contracts and things to make things happen in good business and sell things to countries to offshore companies too, that make your own money. Because, like, how much do you make as a president? Is it 125 grand a year or 250? I don't know. It ain't enough, dude. And, you know, Obama, everything was in place, you know, by the time George Bush Jr. finished. And, you know, Obama's, like, obviously in a position to finalize some of the deals they had going. And so, hey, that's what happened. And there's still another Bush on the way, bro. So
that's right. That's right. What's his name again? He was the one who came. Jeb. He came up 8 years ago, right? He was the one who, when everything happened when they shammed the election and stole that thing, he was the main culprit behind that.
He was the governor. He was the
governor of Florida.
Florida, yeah. But dude, you know, if you think for a second that if Al Gore got in, it would be any different, it wouldn't.
No different. I don't think anything. I don't think anybody that gets to the presidential level that's in the sights of being a president, and sorry, Ron Paul included, to a certain degree, even though he's at least waving a middle finger, which I like, but that seemingly that would have a place in this whole thing too. But I mean,
personally, I thought Perot had a chance of actually fixing the economy.
Ross Perot,
but they wouldn't want that to happen, would they?
No, they wouldn't let that happen. Exactly. It's like they won't let it happen with Ron Paul.
He had 16 million votes, man. You know, that was pretty impressive. That's like the largest amount of votes any independent in the history of the country ever got. So
who did? Perot.
Oh man, you were talking about Ross Perot, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who Mitch was talking about, right?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were talking about John or Pope John Paul, or who you talking about?
No, Saint John Paul.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another thing. That was going on the same day of all this other stuff was going on too. That was going on the same time as this main story of Bin Laden, dude. That he was becoming a saint. They were like digging up his spirit and putting it in his sainthood, which is a fucking joke. But anyway,
but as UFC history, like John Paul Pierre.
John Paul Pierre, wasn't he a chemist that used to work for
UFC? Forget it.
Yeah, this is we got to go down that road. It's some ugly stuff over there too. I was going to just say one thing, you know, because the three of us are in bands, and Bill has friends and he deals with. But I don't know if you guys have the same issues or non-issues, or if you take it seriously or not. But not everyone in your band is going to agree with our points of view. Is that correct?
Well, you know, come on, John. Let's hear your side of the story first.
The guys, my guys have the ones that have looked into it, have acknowledged that there's something to it, that there's something going on, and a couple of them have looked a lot deeper than others, and